Today I've got another skincare trial, and this time it is Benefit Cosmetics. I think this officially makes the smallest skincare trial that I've ever done. It is only 5 products, but I think this is the entirety of the Benefit Cosmetics line. By now you guys know the drill. I've been using these products for the past 2 weeks. I'm coming to you on camera with my bare skin and the products applied to my skin. If my hair ends up getting stuck in my moisturizer, I apologize in advance. Why didn't I put a headband on? That would make this easier, wouldn't it? But needless to say, some of these products are pretty rich, and I like to kind of give you a quick summary of the products. So my impression of the Benefit Cosmetics skincare line is that if you have dry skin, you might want to check out a couple of these products. I definitely noticed that in the 2 weeks of using these products, my hydration levels have gone up, and I have some pretty positive things to say about the line as a whole. I haven't really had any problems with acne. I had one day where I did have a stress-related breakout, but I can tell the difference between a stress-related breakout and a skincare-related breakout. I do have one very large bone to pick with Benefit, however, and that is, well, it's a bit of a story. So you guys probably also know that I like to go into these trials as blind as possible. That is so that I don't have a bias about what to expect by looking at the ingredients. I'd rather form my opinion, look at the ingredients, and kind of see, okay, well, that is what I expected, or I'm surprised by something in the ingredients. So far, I really haven't been very surprised when I look at the ingredients. It's kind of more of like, oh, that validates my experience. When it came time for me to look at the ingredients, which is a couple of days before I actually do this video, I sat down and looked at the Sephora website, I looked at the Beautypedia website, and I was about to fall off my chair in utter horror and shock at what was in the Benefits skincare line ingredients list. We're talking tons of alcohol, tons of fragrance. I'm sitting there thinking, why on earth have I not been breaking out? And then I had kind of a little bit of a light bulb moment of realizing, oh yeah, I bought the full sizes. I can look at the ingredients that are on the box. So I did, and they do not match up at all to what is on the Beautypedia website, nor on the Sephora website. Now, I don't mind them not matching Beautypedia. I understand that Beautypedia is often kind of dated in their reviews. It's definitely something to pay attention to if you use them as a resource. Sephora tends to have the correct ingredients list. They do have a disclaimer that it may not be the most updated ingredients list, but when you are talking about skincare, I am sorry, but you need to have the most accurate representation of that ingredients list, because a tiny variant in ingredients can completely affect the formula. And my argument would be, every single one of these products should have been named something else. When they change the ingredients, that is a reformulation that alters the product completely. It's not really like, well, we made some minor changes to a lipstick. You make some gigantic changes that could really affect people. On a really positive note, with Benefits line, I like the changes. I think they did a really good job of updating their products to make them less problematic. And in fact, if you go on the Sephora or the Ulta site and you sort by date, you will be shocked by how low the ratings were 7-8 years ago for these same supposed products, because they have updated them. They've made them a lot better. They've made them a lot less sensitizing. It's kind of a bit of an interesting perspective though, because I've talked before about feeling surprised how often brands like Clinique and Estee Lauder and a lot of other big skincare brands release new products. So I think that's a much better option than to continue to reformulate a product and surprise people. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into the product reviews themselves. I did buy 3 of these as full sizes. I believe I bought all of them on sale. At least the Total Moisture Cream was 50% off. I think it was 33% off for the others. And then there's 2 that I did not buy in the full size. I just bought minis of. Those are the 2 that I didn't like. I based my opinion on reviews, and people were pretty correct in their reviews, in my opinion. So let's just go ahead and kind of, maybe we'll discuss these in terms of popularity. So we'll start with the eye cream. This is $34 for a ½ ounce, which makes it a fairly affordable mid-range eye cream. Now, you know, there's always the great debate of whether you need an eye cream, and when it comes to eye cream, what you really want to look for is a rich, hydrating formula that is not full of alcohol or fragrance, which is why I was so horrified. Their former versions of this absolutely contained that. Thankfully, the one that I bought does not contain either of those ingredients. One of the things that Benefit points out in their ingredients list is that they have a couple of peptides in here, which is true. They are more towards the end of the list, but peptides is a good ingredient to include in an eye cream. That is something that we have research backing the idea of it making changes to your skin over time. So it's a good idea to have an eye cream that does have peptides in it. This one also contains hyaluronic acid, squalane, and the latest version that I have does have more plant-based ingredients. That's something I was kind of surprised by when I looked at those original formulas, is they really read a lot more like a drugstore product to me. And I touched on that a couple of times. Drugstore products typically have a fully chemical-based list, whereas when you're paying for a mid-range or a luxury skincare product, usually they've incorporated ingredients that are plant-based or naturally occurring oils, which makes the product more expensive to produce. So yes, this one is going to be a little bit more expensive to produce, but worth noting that they did use, both of these creams do contain the gasoline industry byproducts. So however you feel about that, that's something worth noting. Also, I want to comment on the color of this. It's a very pretty ivory eggshell type of color that I think will give you immediate brightening. I always have mixed feelings on this because I think it's kind of a nice addition. Of course, it's a cosmetic effect, but my problem is I see people write a review after one day of using a product, and you can't know if that's really brightening your under eye circles in one day. So yes, I like the color. I guess I could certainly comment on the fact that that color is going to complement fair to light skin tones, but are we really surprised? We're talking about Benefit Cosmetics. But overall, I like it. I think it's a good option. It's probably not my favorite eye cream I've ever tried, but it's a pretty good one, and I do like the ingredients list. Then we have the Total Moisture Facial Cream. This one retails for $42 for 1.7 ounces, and I was able to get this one for 50% off. I really like this a lot. It is a very, very rich formula. I bought it because there were people on the reviews saying this is for a dry to very dry skin, and they weren't wrong. This really is extremely rich. I found it very hydrating on my skin, and I absolutely think it's why my hydration levels were up. Now, I was extremely concerned, as somebody who's also prone to acne, that I was going to break out. I don't feel that this contributed to breakouts. Excellent, excellent formula for that skin type. The version that I have does not have any alcohol in it, however, it does have fragrance, so that's something to pay attention to. There's also a couple potential irritants towards the end of the list, making it so that I would not recommend this for sensitive skin types. And I did notice that if you want to look for something to indicate you're looking at the latest ingredients list, the latest formula has the addition of mango seed butter, and they actually comment on it. So that is something to pay attention to if you're wanting to make sure you're looking at the correct ingredients list. Now, this also contains hydrogenated lanolin, and I think that's a big reason why it's so almost greasy on the skin. Lanolin is an ingredient that we often use in lip balms. When you hydrogenate it, you're going to get a little bit of a lighter variation of it, but it's still fairly heavy. So again, this is not for oily skin. This is probably not even for normal skin. This is for dry to very dry skin. If you are dehydrated, it's a good choice. And also, I suspect that Benefit kind of intends this to be used as a night cream without saying it, since they do have a product that has an SPF of 15 in it. I did use that most days, twice a day, but I think that to finish it off, I'll probably designate it to a night cream. Then we have the Foamingly Clean Facial Wash. This retails for $22 for 4.5 ounces. I like this, but I have to say this is not for people with sensitive skin either. This is definitely more of a drying cleanser. In fact, there's something that I think this really, really compares to, and that is Origin's Checks and Balances. If you enjoy that, you'll probably enjoy this as well. In fact, you may like it more, which is my story, and I'm really happy I got it. This is one of those face washes that complements a facial cleansing device so well. It foams up. It's really enjoyable to use. It does have a light scent to it, lighter than the Origins one if that one is too in your face, and not as drying as the Origins one either. Worth noting though, I did only use this once a day because I've come to the realization that if I do enjoy a slightly more drying face wash, which I do, then I need to use it only once a day, and in the mornings I just use a micellar water. So the last two products I have to discuss, I have in mini form. First off, we have the Triple Performing Facial Emulsion. This is $32 for 1.7 ounces, and this has an SPF of 15 in it. This is the one that Benefit kind of pushes as their day cream. Oh, by the way, what this means with it being an emulsion is supposed to be a lighter version of a moisturizer, so that you could either wear it under your daily moisturizer, or you could replace your moisturizer if you have more of an oily skin type. However, when it comes to this is surprisingly greasy and heavy for an emulsion. I don't think that this is a good example of an emulsion. Since I have the mini, I don't really know what the correct ingredients list is with this, but if Ulta's website is correct on the other three, I assume they're correct on these, which means I'm surprised how irritating this is. As you can see, I really didn't like it. I didn't use very much of it. The SPF of 15, that's going to do practically nothing in terms of protecting you from the sun. So with this one, I would just say it's just a pass for me. There's a lot of better sunscreens with higher SPFs on them, and also this is chemical-based sunscreen, which is not my personal preference. I prefer to use a mineral-based sunscreen. Last, we have the Instant Comeback Facial Serum. This retails for $46 for an ounce, fairly standard pricing, but I'd say it's a pass. If the correct ingredients list is the one on Ulta, then this still has alcohol and fragrance in it. And when you are talking about a serum, you are supposed to use that directly after cleansing and toning. It's supposed to really penetrate your skin. You want your serum to have really good ingredients, and this just fell short for me. I didn't feel like it was really making any kind of changes in my skin. I would say spend $3 more and get a Clinique serum. They are incredibly good serums without any alcohol or fragrance. Or even maybe check out the No. 7 line. While that is a much more chemical-based line, it is a drugstore line, I think that is still a much better option than this one. Alright guys, that is everything I have to say about the Benefit Cosmetics line. Let me know if you enjoyed this video by giving it a like. Make sure you're subscribed, and as always, I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, YouTube.